Ladies and gentlemen, g'day. Welcome back to the channel. Obviously, my name is Economics, mate. Surely, it's not anyone else. The reason why you clicked on this video, surely, is because of the title. And as the title suggests, the question of today's topic is, are tank destroyers still relevant in Blitz? And if so, how much of an impact do they have on the game? Boy oh boy, do I have quite a bit to talk about. Now, tank destroyers have always been historically quite devastating. Let's face it, from the very inception of Blitz back in the day, with tanks like the Jagdpanzer E100 and the Object 268, these were tank destroyers that really showcased just how devastating they can be. And I mean, with the coming years, we've had tank destroyers like the Scorpion G rock up, the ISU 130, and of course the ISU 152, how can we forget about that? But then stuff like the G-Saw 1800, the SMV Vipera, the T28 Defender, the WZ 113 GFT, of course the formidable 183, how can we forget about this, the Death Star? And therefore it begs the question, are tank destroyers still relevant in this day and age, especially considering that we're currently in the medium and light tank meta with tanks like the E50M, the T22 medium, the 121B, the M48 Patton, the M60 even, or tanks like the T100 LT, or the Sheridan, or the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. Is tank destroyers still relevant? Are tank destroyers still as devastating as they used to be? And I'm here to tell you, 110%, they are. I guarantee you, they still pack a punch. And look, as much as we like to admit that this current meta is heavily medium tank and light tank based, I'm going to showcase a replay for you just to show you how much of an impact a tank destroyer can be when put in the hands of someone who is, let's face it, a very competent and a very good player. Can anyone hazard a guess which tank I'm going to choose and which player I'm going to choose? Take a guess. Of course, it can be none other than my good friend and my brother, Trapmelon, playing in his Waffen F1.0. Yes, I'm showcasing another battle with him. Because, well, let's face it, the Waffenträger is ridiculous. There's no other words to put it. This thing, and by the way, he's playing on Milenjijk, or whatever you want to call it. I honestly do not know how to pronounce it. It's one of the newer maps in Blitz that have recently come in, last year and whatnot, or the year before, I think. Regardless, it's one of the newer maps in Blitz over the years, right? This tank, it encompasses the essence of what a tank destroyer is supposed to do, and it's supposed to not only destroy tanks, but also strike fear in the enemy. This is no slug. Yes, this thing is as big as a house. Yes, its camera rating is absolutely dog shit. Yes, its armor is basically non-existent. But it has a gun that has a clipping potential of 1700 damage, regardless whether you use the 128 with the 5-shot or the 150 with the 3 shots. My point is that this thing is devastating. 1700 damage in one clip is ridiculous. That is enough to basically deplete majority of the hit points from a T10 medium or light tank. It's basically enough to destroy a T10 tank destroyer. It's crazy when you think about it in hindsight. And this thing is not just, this tank particularly, the Waffenträger Alpha 100, isn't just, a select tank in a massive sort of basket. No, many tank destroyers share this sort of tank's, influence. Like that Object 268 version 4 over there. That is a tank that has great amount of armor facing head on. It has a decent gun. It's not as amazing as the Object 268's gun, the Tech Tree one, but still, it is got enough armor to really prove to be a tough tank to deal with. There's a Hori there. The Hori is also a ridiculous tank with a great amount of penetration and a great amount of DPM and a good amount of armor. And it's had PBR It's, it's just better in every way. Tanks like these really, really showcase just how devastating tank destroyers can be. Even in the hands of a nupty, even a noob at T10, as someone who's a new player or a noob, can do easily 1500 to 2000 damage in a tank destroyer. No problem at all. Sitting at the back, sniping, Bob's your uncle. This poor bloke, I like the fact that, beautiful shot there. Beautiful, beautiful shot. Can he get another HE shot? Of course he can. Look at that. Completely clears a T92E1 with his one clip. Like, this is a tank destroyer. This is a tank destroyer. It's ridiculous. Oh, for God's sake, stop with that stupid thing with the screen. I hate when it does that. Anyway, my point is, yes, there are tank destroyers that are not in the same breed as this. They can't really carry a game as well as some other tanks, right? Unfortunately, he does bounce there. He's trying to get a HE shot into the back of that thing, but yeah, he can't pen. I think he should have hit him with AP. It probably would have been a better option. But the reason why I'm showcasing this particular replay is because Trap himself said, Eco, you're going to love this replay because it's going to showcase just how devastating not only the Waffenträger can be, but any tank destroyer can be in the hands of a competent player, in the hands of a pro player. And Trap is no noob. He is one of the best players I've seen, alongside the likes of Adam and Peter Cuke and some of the other folks on EU, some of the comp players. Like, he's amazing, right? And look at him. It's a 1 versus 5 situation. Now, in retrospect, if he was in, let's say, a medium tank or a heavy tank, let's specifically talk about a heavy tank. Let's say he was in, I don't know, an IS-8. So, let's stick with T10. Let's say he was in a WZ-113. Now, that's a great tank. It's got good armor. It's got sort of okay mobility. It's got amazing DPM. It's got good penetration. It can hold its own. But against 5 other tanks? No. This is what Trap was talking about. By this tank holding its own, not only as a tank destroyer, but as something that is just stupid. The gun on this thing is stupid. As the gun on many tank destroyers at T10 are stupid. Look at the 183. The 183, you can sit at the back, fire 2 shots of AP, one Hesh, 1 AP, and do over 2000 damage. Easy. No problems at all. Unfortunately, he does get shot by the E50. He does clear him. Is he going to clear the... Yep, he does. Switches to the heat. That's exactly what you should be doing. That T56... that E6 over there should be pushing on Trap, but he doesn't. Now, notice how Trap obviously picks his targets. He picks his targets well. He picks the low hit point targets first, clears them, and then he goes for the other ones that are more devastating. And he saves his rounds. It's very important. Now, for some reason, he managed to spot the T95 E6, but again, the Waffenträger has basically no armor. Don't forget that. Boom, that's one shot. All he needs to do is hit him with HE. If he hits him with HE, he should be able to guarantee a kill. Oh, hit him with AP. Hit him with HE, dude. Beautiful. And from that, he was able to take this from a 1 versus 5 to a 1 versus 2. The Hori misses his shot. He's trying to bait the TL7 to shoot. Oh, for God's sake, stop it. He's trying to bait the TL7 to shoot him. The TL7 is not having it. I don't know what he was doing. Let's face it, TL7's a bit of an uptie. Now he decides to push at him? No, he doesn't. Curious. I guess they don't know or realise that he's reloading his shells. Boom! One shot into him. A snapshot. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Boy, oh boy, is this... Oh, one shot. Oh my god, he tracks him. Oh, dude. Yeah. No contest. No contest there. 6 kills. 5,900 damage. Like, I've seen Trap do way more damage in this tank. But the fact that he was able to hold his own against... Look at those medals. Let's go back. Look at those medals. He did 5,987 damage. He killed 5 tanks in the span of a few minutes on his own. On his own. In a tank destroyer. That does 1,700 potential damage with one clip. That is as big as a house. That has no armor. And he was able to kill 5 tanks. If that doesn't show you the impact that tank destroyers have on the game, then I don't know what does. Yes, Trap is a very, very good player, and it singles out many other people. Fair enough. But there's no question about it. Tank destroyers are as relevant now as they were before. If anything, they're even more devastating now with all the buffs that have been happening with calibrated shells, with the penetration buffs, in general, with alpha damage increases. Yes, DPM has decreased because alpha damage has increased, but who cares? When your alpha is bigger than before, it's crazy. Then you have autoloaders like this thing. It's insane. Tanks, I'm going to go through some of the tanks that I have that are just ridiculous. Look at this. Kolovanov's medal. Pool's medal. Top Gun. High caliber. Look at his team. You ready? Leopard 1 did no damage. The Moishan did... I'm assuming he shot 2 shots. Everyone else on his team did over 1,000 damage. And he did the most damage out of everyone. He killed the most tanks. Like, come on. You can't compare. You cannot compare. It is really devastating. Tanks like this, for instance, the 183, like I said, people hate this tank. Why? Because it just ruins the game for people. You shoot one shot of Hesh, you pen, let's say you do 1,400 damage, bruh, 1,200 damage, 1,300 damage, 1,400 damage, that's majority of your hit points gone with one shot. And that person just goes back into cover, reloads, and go back out and shoot again. Simple as that. Like, is there any contest? No, there isn't. What about this thing? The Object 268. This thing has 690 alpha damage. It's ridiculous. You shoot a shot, your potential to high roll in the 800s is enormous. The HE is enormous. Look at the pen. Look at the penetration on this thing. 319 millimeters of pen. 418 mils of heat. It's ridiculous. It is honestly ridiculous. Sorry, yeah, but then obviously when you counter in running calibrated shells, those numbers increase. It's insane. It's honestly insane. And tank destroyers really do impact the game heavily, especially when you have someone who knows how to play them. And not only does it make it even more impactful, it makes a huge difference. It's a night and day difference. And yes, people still prefer to play tank destroyers over heavy tanks more often than not. And you can argue with me as much as you want. You can disagree with me. But there is no denying there are more people who play tank destroyers than any other tank in the game. Period. Done, dusted, nada, no point. There is no way you can dispute that. Because most people will agree with me here. A lot of people tend to play tank destroyers more. Why? Because of the devastating nature that they have. Yes, medium tanks and light tanks are the talk of the Blitz community now. They're everywhere. But guess what? Tank destroyers will always and forever be the top dogs when it comes to damage, penetration, and impact. Yes, there are still plenty of players that play heavy tanks. But let's face it, tank destroyers... there are many more people that play them. It just so often. They're basically in every battle. There's no question about it. They are still very much relevant in Blitz, and they have a huge impact on games. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed my video. If you disagree with what I had to say, let me know in the comments down below why you disagree with me. If you agree, let me know why you agree. This is an open discussion. Let's talk. Let's hash it out. Love you all. Look after yourselves. Look after your friends and family. Peace in the Middle East. And as always, I'll catch you later. See you laters.